Hello everybody and welcome to my video, Getting Tidier. I hope you're all well, and as always my video starts with a few clips as to what you can expect to see in today's video. I'm still working on the loft room. Oh my goodness, and I still haven't finished, but I do loads and loads and loads of work to get rid of stuff, to clear stuff out, to put stuff in recycling, put stuff in the bin, and move things to their rightful home, because a lot of the things that have somehow ended up in the loft room do not belong in the loft room. I've also got a big pile of things that I'm going to go through with my husband this weekend to make a decision as to what we need to do with it. There are items which to me look broken, a lava lamp which hasn't worked I don't think for years. There's lots and lots of leads. Lots of things that he's had from like many years, and they're not my things to bin or put in recycling, but I think if the two of us spend some time going through them, I'm convinced we're going to be able to get rid of quite a lot. So that's something to look forward to, because at the moment that's sitting in a pile in the loft room floor. But you can see I do a lot of sorting out and clearing out here. I also go around the edges of the carpet. So the carpet in most of the rooms in our house is quite a high percentage of wool. And that means when the skirting and the carpet join, or like where there's furniture that you can't move, for example, the bed in the loft room, you get that fluff. And I just use a damp cloth to go along to make sure after you've hoovered, you get the dust right to the very edge. So as I record this, it is the start of the week, and I've got to say I'm not feeling very motivated. I've got loads of work to do with my jobs, and I don't know, I'm just not feeling very motivated at the moment for a whole variety of reasons. Job number one, my primary job, I've never really felt like this before. I've always really enjoyed the job and felt very happy in the job. But I think, you know, some of you who've been watching me for a while are aware that I had an issue at work. Somebody had made a complaint about a whole variety of things, generally not happy with anything, and some of the issues were related to me. So that resulted in this big investigation, literally like 2 days before I was due to go on holiday in July, and this has been going on and on and on and on. Now, of course, there are various comments made, and there's some sort of sensible recommendations, useful recommendations. The things that were said related to me, none of them have been found, of course, that they were accurate or fair or just. But I just find it a little bit unjust that somebody can say something about an individual, about a team, about a situation which is completely untrue. And of course these things have to be investigated, because what if it was true? But it's really awful for the person who and the people involved who are innocent. So I've struggled with that really, and that does sort of impact how motivated I feel, but just one of those things. Hopefully it will get resolved fairly soon. And then my other role, my tutoring role, I do enjoy that, but quite a few of the learners that I have finished. One recently I got another distinction, which I was really pleased with for the person, because they worked really hard. And I've not had any new learners. And so again, you don't feel particularly motivated with that if it's kind of, you know, nothing new. So I did have a little look to see what other jobs are available. But the thing is, I'm not prepared to work full-time in any one role. The reason for that is I still want to be available for the school holidays. So when you work out all my hours, I do work more than full-time hours, but I don't work Mondays, and all the work that I do is very flexible. So that means when we get to the school holidays, I can work just one day in the week, or I can work in the evenings. I could work on a Saturday and Sunday evening. So when you look at other roles, I mean, there are a couple of jobs that I've got a good sort of skill set for in London, but that requires me to be going into London 3 days a week. That's not going to work with me doing the school run, and it's not going to work in the holidays. So I'm not going to do that. So I'm keeping on in the house, but today I do feel like I've done loads, but I've got so much to do and I don't feel very motivated to do it. The Lego is still all over the lounge floor. My husband said, oh, isn't it good now we've got each completed set on each of the boxes? Yes, he's right. That does look good and that is really good, but you can't actually get around the lounge. You have to climb over the Lego to get to the television, climb over the Lego to get to the sofa, climb over the Lego to get to the fire. So yes, it's good to see each of the sets, but then there's some of the sets have now fallen onto the floor and are broken a bit. So I need to go and do some work on that. I need to put the washing on, I need to hang some washing out, I need to do some more washing up, and I don't feel like doing any of it. So you can see in the video what a complete muddle that I've got there. This is part of that pile that I was talking about that belongs to my husband's. So there's leads there, there's some bags there. You can see the sentimental boxes with their lids on. They're packed to one side. And then I thought, well, what would be quite good is there's some things that I can put back in the cupboard. So we've got some really old Lego sets that my husband is holding on to for some sort of investments. Then we've got one of the suitcases, so I just thought we've got some suitcases downstairs, but why don't I get rid of the ones that I can, the ones that are just sitting there and I know there's space in the cupboard. I can at least put them away. I have been putting like with like, so you see that blue box, sort of turquoisey box, that's full of papers, and there's a jowled bag that's sitting on top, and every time I found some paperwork that I need to keep, I've just been putting in the top of the jowled bag. Then when we move the office related items downstairs into the playroom, and then this is going to be more clothes storage where at the moment I work, I'll be able to go through the filing cabinet properly, get rid of all the really, really old filing and then replace it with some sort of new system. And it'll be easier to get to downstairs as well. And I was going to say warmer. I mean, actually the loft room's quite warm, but today the whole house is really, really cold. And one of the things that I need to get up and do is go and put the fire on. But that will involve me going outside and getting more firewood, and I'm freezing. When I was standing in the queue yesterday, this is what it's like for some people in the United Kingdom. This lady was talking to me, and she's married and has got one child. And she said, oh, I've not put the heating on yet. So I said, oh, right. She said, I've been managing through candles. So I said, candles do actually give off a reasonable amount of heat. But she said her children were complaining about it being so cold. So she was getting them to put more jumpers on. And she said, but the problem is if I put the heating on, they'll probably open the window. So we had a bit of a discussion, but I thought there are some people in the United Kingdom that are really, really quite cold in their house. And they're literally putting candles on for warmth, which is shocking, really, isn't it? Really, really shocking. I mean, for us, part of the reason why I've not put the heating on yet is because we wanted to use up some of the wood in that wood shelter, because they've not my kindling, because the kindling is really useful. It's more my big logs. I've got some really big logs. I wanted to get rid of those. But we've got a massive, massive electricity and gas bill. What happened last year was that our provider just stopped taking direct debit payments. And that obviously a few months went past and neither of us noticed. I mean, I'm the one that manages the money, so it's my fault. I just didn't notice. When you've got a direct debit set up, you just assume it's going to come out every month on the same date. So I missed that it hadn't been taken out for quite a while. I haven't checked the exact number of months, but it was quite a while. And then on the 16th of December, to my horror, that came up, EDF, new payments, and they took £400 from us, literally a few days before Christmas. And so what has turned out is, I have complained about this, but they had some sort of error on their system and they moved they moved all the account information from an old system to a new system, and apparently some didn't go over. So that meant they stopped taking meter readings, stopped taking direct debits. So now we literally owe them thousands of pounds. It's ridiculous. So the reason why they're wanting £400 a month was for us to pay our energy bill, but also to pay off extra off the balance. So it's shocking really, because this has happened to quite a few people, not just us. So I thought, well, if I don't put the heating on quite yet, that will last a little bit. And actually, yesterday wasn't too mild, it was quite mild. Today is much colder. Obviously, when it gets really cold, we will put the heating on. So you can see that I decided to sort out everything at the top of the stairs. So I am still trying to do my 3 baskets. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The towels are in my husband's basket and the bed linen is in my basket. And then my daughter already had 1 basket in her room. So I took all the items from the basket just there in the video and went and put it in the basket which is there. But I do need to help her put some of the items away in her room. Some of it she's getting better at and doing more and more. Others she finds a bit harder. Then I wanted to do a really quick tidy of the bathroom. So the bathroom is quite clean and tidy, but I just want to keep on top of it. So there was some Halloween bits left out. So you can see in the bath, there's a ghost that was hanging down from the bath, and that was on a string. So when people knocked on the door and I offered them some sweets, my daughter released the ghost and it fell down and made people jump. It was quite funny. And then she used my macrame wool in order to do that. So I've got my macrame wool on the radiator. And then there's other bits that have just been left out that I wanted to tidy up and put away. So despite not really feeling that motivated, I am still quite busy in this video. And I would say I am motivated by all the lovely comments that you've been adding to my channel. So massive thank you for those of you that have added comments. A massive thank you for those of you that have just recently joined. And I'm so thankful for those of you that have been here for quite some time following my journey. So thank you for your support. People often suggest different YouTubers for me to watch. I have very limited time to watch other YouTubers. I do watch some, but I have very limited time. But in terms of what gives me motivation, it really is all of you and all of your suggestions and ideas. So I'm going to go through a couple of your comments now. So the first comment is from N Big. N Big says, I'm always amazed by how much you juggle in your life. Impressive. Thank you. Ali Bally says, I find it easier to keep control of my spices by putting them in a sturdy plastic basket in the kitchen cabinet. When I need spices, I just pull the whole basket out and slide it back when I finish cooking. That is a good idea. I did have a bit of a lunchbox, but then the lunchbox wasn't big enough, and they kind of started spreading around the cupboard. Also, for a Christmas present, I should have just got rid of it when I got given it, really. I hate the feeling that people might think that I'm ungrateful. But somebody got us this sort of like big sort of kit that had all these different herbs and spices and mixes, and none of them have proper allergen information in, so we're not going to use them for the 3 of us. So that there's about 25 different flavours. When we were never going to use it at the time. Now they're out of date, so we can't give them away. And I said to my husband about getting rid of them, and he said, oh well, we might use them, because I think he feels obliged to keep hold of it. But given what some of you have told me about herbs and spices not lasting, I do feel tempted to get rid of them. Carol Winstead says, Thanksgiving in the US is the 4th Thursday in November. We give thanks for all the blessings of the year. I love that. That's really nice. Next comment is from Sunny Sky. And I've got to let you know, I laughed out loud when I read this post. And I also read it to my husband. Sunny Sky says, Hi Emma, hope you're well. I've had your playlists on for the whole month. The other day my kids said to me, Mum, Do you know you're watching the same thing over and over again? So I had to explain why, and not that I've got memory loss. You've done so well in your home. Oh, makes me laugh. So I did reply and said, thank you so much. It looks like we've raised £216.33 because of people like you. So thank you to Sunny Sky and to everybody else that watched more of my videos, that ran playlists day and night. Thank you so, so much. Sunny Sky replied and said, I was thinking, if you put the bread bin in clutter corner, you won't be able to clutter it up. I love that, clutter corner. It made me laugh. Yes, you are right. But what would happen, Sunny Sky, is that clutter would be put on top of the bread bin. And what I really need to do is myself and everyone else in the house not put anything on that corner. And we will get there. We will get there. It will just take a while. Miranda Friday says Thanksgiving is the 27th of November. Living SJI says great video. Thank you very, very much. Now Michelle. This is Michelle Marinette Antoine. Says again, you are making great strides. Keep going. I now always have to keep the next bag of flour, gluten-free flour, in the freezer to prevent spoilage. I don't use it regularly. This being apple season, I can't get enough, but it is not always in stock. That's interesting. So I did reply and said I'm very interested in you putting flour in the freezer, as I've not heard about this. So I've not seen Michelle's reply until now. What happens? Often YouTube don't get me notification. So that says, so Michelle says, apparently freezing flour prolongs it and delays chance of bugs. I just put the whole unopened bag in. I questioned it at first, but it seems to work. I like to put it in another bag too, so my fellow bears rummaging for food are less likely to disturb or puncture it. My APG, if flour comes in a plastic bag, but I have done paper too. I even pulled out cold and baked with it immediately. Really? I've never heard about this. Never. But I'm just thinking, we have lots of different types of flour in our cupboard, like bread flour, free from self-raising, free from plain. And I'm just wondering whether we could decant it into like smaller bags or containers and keep it in the freezer. Thank you for sharing that. Every day's a school day. Lizzie, this is William Hawthorne, says, points taken, Emma. Everyone has an opinion and you don't always want people analysing you. Can't possibly know Emma the person from a few hour videos, vice versa. The person making the comments may mean no harm. No, people don't mean any harm. Perfectly reasonable questions. Have you thought of placing your plastic pots on their sides once collected so they won't keep blowing over? Do you know, Lizzie, I thought about you because I went into the garden a couple of days ago. What was I going to do? I think I was going to dig up some potatoes. And all the pots that I stacked, they're all on the floor. So I do need to think about that. I need some sort of system, stack them all together and then lay them on the sides. There must be some sort of contraption. You almost need something that fits in the inside of the top pot that wraps round the bottom of the bottom one. There must be something, but you're right. It's much better to lay them down. So thank you for that, and thank you for your lovely comments. Matt Casey says, not a comment but a question. Why are the doorknobs so high up in the doors in your country? I've always been so curious. So they aren't in newer houses. In newer houses, they tend to be more sort of like waist level. So I guess it was a combination of perhaps not wanting young children to open and close doors. And secondly, I think it's just the fashion. So the doors that you see in our house, apart from the doors in the loft room, they are all original design. Unfortunately, they are not the original doors because we had to have all of those replaced when we had the loft room work to fit in with building regulations. So we had to take all the doors off and have new doors, which came from Ireland. But we wanted the exact same design, so that's what we had. So it's probably just is partly to do with fashion. A little bit like some houses have all the doors with the glass pane in, don't they? Whereas other doors are completely solid. Alison Kirkwood says, "Hi Emma, you really must book a trip to Scotland. You would love it. A log cabin where you could base yourself for a week and do lots of day trips. I've so many emotional attachments to things. I love revisiting memories. I've just bought a Silver Cross Balmoral pram. Everyone has been chiming in their opinion that it was silly to buy it. I don't care. I've waited a long time to have a baby after 15 years of IVF. I always wanted one. I'll be able to go out on lovely walks as I live quite rurally. I can't wait to be out pushing my baby." Great video, as always. So I replied to Alison. Alison obviously understands me. So I always said, if I am lucky enough to have a baby, I want to have a Silver Cross pram. So that was what I chose to have. And yes, I had the same thing, Alison. People giving their opinions, people giving their thoughts. Why do you want that? You don't need that, etc., etc. Which is what people love to do. Even when you have the baby, you'll realise that continues, Alison. That continues. One person that I know, I was talking about my daughter. She was a very happy baby, but she also cried quite a lot, as babies do. But part of it was to do with her reacting to the allergens in my milk before we realised that she had these allergies. And I can remember talking to a family member about the crying, and they said, just put the pram at the end of the garden. But I said, if I put the pram down at the end of the garden, I'm not going to be able to hear my baby. And they said, exactly. And that's apparently what they did with their child. Put them down the end of the garden. I said to Alison, people said the same thing to me. I said, if I'm lucky enough to have a baby, I'm going to have a Silver Cross pram. I'm going to find a picture to post. They're lovely to walk to the shops, baby groups, park, etc. How far pregnant are you? I don't think I knew you were having a baby. Maybe I should get the train from London to Scotland. I'd love that. Now, I did look at my pictures. I have got some lovely pictures, but I don't know how to blur out my baby. I don't know how to blur out her face. And I don't want to do, one of those splodges where people look like they're scribbled over the picture. So that is to be confirmed. I will try to sort that out. And Alison replied and said, we sure are. Our baby is due on Valentine's Day. Oh, wow. We are very blessed, and we have a surrogate who is carrying our baby for us. I love the train journey. It's long enough to get lost in a good book and eat fun snacks. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. That is emotional roller coaster though, what you've been through and what you're going through. Oh, thank you for sharing that with us. I love train travel. I really do. Your post has really got me thinking as to whether I can use my train card to get a reduced price ticket from London to Scotland. I'd like to do that overnight train. That's what I'd like to do. Next comment, Rebecca Corsa Wallace. Hello Rebecca, how are you? Rebecca says, hi Emma, you are doing amazing. Oh, thank you. That means a lot, you saying that. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for keeping me company when I'm sorting my house. How are you, Rebecca? And how is the family? And how is Richard? Oh, do you know I replied to Rebecca and she's sent a reply through. It was 13 days ago, but again, YouTube doesn't give me any notifications. So I said, thank you for watching. Funny as I was thinking about you today. Are you completely recovered and how's your husband getting on? Okay, so I'd not seen this message, Rebecca. Rebecca says, hey, yes, I'm all better. That's good. So Rebecca had an operation. I'm so thankful to our amazing practice nurse. There are some amazing people in the NHS, aren't there? We are very, very lucky. There are some really incredible people. Richard is doing well. Still struggling with speech and his left-hand sided weakness, but he definitely seems more positive. And his workplace admitted liability. Oh my goodness. Goodness. So that's massive, isn't it? Because when workplaces don't admit liability for things, that can go on and on and on and on and take all of your strength to fight against something that seems so much bigger than us as individuals and us as families. So what's going to happen next then? I'm glad that he's doing better. I'm sorry to hear he's still struggling with speech. I hope you're still getting support through the NHS with that. But hopefully he will keep on improving each day. That must be extremely frustrating for him, really, given his work and everything that he's achieved. But I hope each day goes by, each week goes by, you see improvements for him and for you. Very, very tough time you've had, but I'm glad you're seeing improvements. Suzette Davis says, great video. You can really see all of your hard work paying off. Thank you so much, Suzette. Do you know, all these people that comment here are like positivity.com. You're so positive and so lovely. Mary says, Emma, your home is looking so good. You sound like a very busy person. Go at your own pace. Decluttering is an ongoing process. I agree, Mary, and I'm just not bringing the things into my home. I do laugh though, because even like within the last year, there are things that I've bought and now I look at and think, why did I purchase that? Just sometimes even small things. Why did I get that? I don't need that. Right at the beginning of my decluttering journey, like for instance, there's been the odd item that I've bought, like, it's going to stand out, and I think, why have I got that? And then before my decluttering journey, we were in Holland. So when would this be? This would have been not this year. Oh, actually, no, 2024 was last year. So I had started this channel then, and I bought that vase that I look at every single day. I look at it and it's a reminder of not why I should not buy things. I bought it from a little antique shop in Holland, which was lovely, but I should have appreciated it on the shelf as opposed to buying it. But I just quite like the idea of having something antique from Holland. But now I look at it and think, why did I buy that? Teresa Bowie says, that's what I have to do with my husband. Ask to fix or do something because he doesn't see what I see. Men and women are just so different, Teresa, and I wish somebody had explained that when I was first married. You would think, we went for various meetings. I think we had 2 meetings with the vicar. They were absolutely no help or no use. We filled in some survey where we had to answer questions about the other person without asking them, like sort of a fun activity with other people that are about to get married. And we had a meeting with the vicar who asked us, why do you want to get married? But I really wish somebody had said to me, look, men and women are very different when it comes to things in the house. So I can remember being newly married and my husband had gone to work, and then I was then getting ready to leave the house to go to work. And he had stepped over like recycling that had just come through the door. And I've probably told you this story before, but I took it like quite personally. Like, I could not believe that somebody could walk over recycling, literally having to step on it, recycling papers, and pass the recycling bin, not just pick them up and put them in the bin. And it took me a while to realise that that was not anything personally. It was literally he did not see them. Whereas I see everything that needs to be done in the house. As you all know, I'm not saying that's a strength of mine, because I'm learning to get better at managing the house and doing stuff and being more organised in the home and taking more of an interest in getting better. But I just think I'm programmed to notice and see things. And when I walk in a room, I notice things that need to be done, whereas he won't necessarily see that, and his strengths lie in other areas. So you can see the Lego has gone back into that corner. We are going to have another grand Lego session one evening, probably over the weekend, because it's getting closer and closer to my husband's birthday. And as you all know, I'm determined that we're going to sort this. So every time a set is complete, it's going upstairs in the playroom, and I'm getting it online. But unfortunately, we've got one set which is completely full, and about 4 or 5 sets which have got 1 or 2 pieces missing. So I said to my husband, well, if we write down the pieces that are missing, put the set in the box, double check it all, and then we can order that part online. That's the plan. So you can see I've got a lot of washing outside hanging up. I've also got my dryer outside still from the other day when I put the washing out, but it keeps falling over. Yesterday was quite windy, and I think it was probably a bit top heavy. So I've stood it up and I've put it out in the dining room with the view that I'll get it dry a bit quicker. It's not that much, and then I'll be completely up to date with washing. Then what I need to do is in 2 days' time put another load on. Not wait until I need to do 3 loads. I think probably I do 2 full loads a week, sometimes 3. And then every other week I do a white load. The dining room is reasonably tidy at the moment, which I'm quite pleased about. I've brought in a new chart for my daughter for her to get pocket money, and one of her jobs is to keep the table clear. So that's going to be starting from today. So I'm going to remind her when I pick her up from school. I didn't bring it in last week because the table was such a state, and some of the things she wouldn't have known what to do with. But now the table's quite tidy, she just needs to make sure she's putting her books away and tidy up and put pens back where they belong. So in terms of the rest of the week, Wednesday I don't have guides because it's Guy Fawkes night, but we will be celebrating Guy Fawkes night on Saturday evening, and so we've got family coming round. My husband will probably do burgers, and we'll do some salads, sort of have typical sort of bonfire night food. If I'm lucky enough, my mum will also do barbecue beans, which I really enjoy. They're yummy. And I can remember being a child and having barbecue beans in the garden with a big bonfire, a guy and fireworks. It was great fun. My husband loves the fireworks too, because as a child he was never allowed fireworks. His parents always said, particularly his dad, always said it was like rolling up a £10 note and setting a light to it, which is a shame because people get a lot of enjoyment watching fireworks. Now I do know that for people who've got pets that can be a difficult time, so we'll get a mix of fireworks, not get lots and lots that are really, really loud ones, because I do know that can upset animals. So let me know if you are celebrating Guy Fawkes night and what you're doing, and I hope you have a lovely time. And I'm very, very close now to the end of my video, which is quite good timing because I'm due to pick my daughter up. So thank you very, very much for your ongoing support and kindness. Really means a lot to me. If you haven't already subscribed, please do consider subscribing. I know quite a few of you regularly watch my videos and aren't subscribed. It does help me if you're subscribed, because then I can keep on making videos. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!